In '77, I applied for the Astronaut program among 10,000 other people. And in '78, I got selected. There were 3 African Americans in that class, myself, Ron McNair, and Fred Gregory. I think any of the 3 of us could have done that role. Fred was a test pilot, Ron was an engineer, and I sort of mixed both, had the blend of both. But it wasn't for me a desire to be the first African American in space. My desire was to make a contribution. STS-8, there were 4 rookies on the team and Dick Truly. We trained together as a team for about 15 months before we flew. It probably took me a little while to recognize the historical significance of it. And then once I sort of accepted that, then I also recognized the importance of doing the job as best as I can. And it as an opportunity to open up doors for others. It was the first night launch, so we had to shift our circadian rhythm and get used to sleeping in the day and living at night. Getting up at 10 o'clock at night, going to bed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It took us a week to do that. We did that primarily in quarantine. The day that we were going to fly, they got us up at 10 o'clock at night. And we had breakfast. We suited up. About midnight, we went downstairs and climbed into the van to go out to the bird. It was raining that night, and I knew that it was going to be an exciting night because there were, people came from all over to watch this launch because I was flying. I imagined them all standing out there at 1 o'clock in the morning with their umbrellas, all asking the same question, and that is, why am I standing here? You know, the launch was slipped, I guess, about a half hour because we were supposed to launch off at about 2, but the weather was starting to clear. Maybe a little after 2 in the morning, they felt they gave us the go for liftoff, and we counted down, and clock marched all the way down to 0, and the solid rocket boosters lit off. We had darkened our cockpit so that we could maintain our night vision just in case we would have to do an emergency landing. Well, the first real surprise was when the solid rocket boosters lit off and lit up the cockpit. Whatever night vision we were supposed to have, we lost it. The thing that surprised me was it was just like the simulators, except the vehicle actually moved. The crew taped the intercom conversation. There's somebody giggling and laughing all the way up, and we listened to it for quite a while to try and figure out who that was, only to come to the conclusion that that was me. I laughed and giggled all the way up. It was such a fun ride. As we were crossing the Atlantic, you could see the sunrise and Africa come up over the horizon. Just spectacular, and you're going into orbit upside down. Just spectacular view. But we finally got on orbit, and we unstrapped from the seat. I still remember unstrapping from the seat for the first time, and I was floating on the ceiling. I just sort of, goodness gracious, and you're in harnesses and you got to get out. And for the first couple of hours, for rookies, it's just all arms and legs trying to get your act together. Once you get the vehicle configured for orbit operations, you eat lunch. That's normal. You eat lunch. During that time period, that's when you find out if you're going to be comfortable or not comfortable in space. You don't know if you're going to suffer from this space adaptation syndrome thing or not. There were 2 members of our flight that suffered from it. Not only did I eat my lunch, but I helped eat somebody else's lunch. Our primary mission was to deploy a satellite, and I was the lead guy for that. Probably towards the end of that day, we deployed the satellite. And then the next 3 or 4 days, I had so much time that I went downstairs during one day and took a cat nap. Dick Truly and Dan Brandenstein were challenged with reference to flying the vehicle at night, both launch and landing at night. They figured that out. They had to serve as trailblazers for that. I tried not to be a distraction to them, though they realized they were flying me and there would be more attention paid to me than these guys. But these guys also made major contributions on the flight. It was a great team effort. Bill Thornton did an awful lot of work looking at man's adaptation to zero-G. Dale Gardner operated the ARM, the RMS. We did a couple of days engineering work using the ARM.
The President is on the line.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
We tagged up and spoke with Ronald Reagan on orbit, which was nice. That was a nice experience, and they lined us up, and we had our conversation with the president at the time.
Guy, congratulations. You, I think, are paving the way for many others, and you're making it plain that we are in an era of brotherhood here in our land.
On the sixth day, we tidied up the vehicle and turned it around and brought it home. I still remember coming home, sitting next to Dale Gardner, and he had a camera taking pictures out the window, and occasionally he would hand me the camera, and the camera got heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier as we were coming home. So you could feel the gravity starting to grab you as you were coming in. From the people at Edwards, you couldn't see the vehicle come in. They looked at the vehicle through an infrared camera as we turned finally, and people really didn't see us until we came in over the lights to land. And I still remember climbing into bed that night, and sleeping in the bed was like sleeping on a concrete floor. So I realized it was going to take me a couple of days to get readapted back to 1G. But it was a fabulous experience. Great crew. Great experience all the way around. I think everybody is comfortable with the fact that African Americans can do the job just as well as anybody else. I feel very proud to be a role model, and I hope that when people look back at me, they can say, yeah, I'd like to be like Guy Bluford. That's fine with me.